Now on Fast Track News, ChatGPT is getting a lot of heat. How is the university addressing this, and what are students saying?
Changes the game. It's going to take all our jobs.
Plus, Purdue student government is examining the student parking shortage here on campus.
Soon, there will be one more step to log into your Purdue email. Find out what you can expect here. All your campus news, weather, and sports is straight ahead. This is Fast Track News.
Good afternoon, Boilermakers. It's Friday, February 24th, just 2 more weeks until spring break. I'm Rachel Tsai.
And I'm John Waterworth. Before we jump ahead to the upcoming break, we've got to get through midterms first. And if you've got a few papers to write, don't cut corners and use AI to help you write them. Reporter Andrea Yu explains what could happen if you do.
ChatGPT has been a popular topic of discussion as of late. It's a very advanced form of AI that people have been using to answer simple questions, write recipes, or even write code. However, with such advanced technology comes some controversy.
I think it has the potential, for plagiarism. It's just a big problem. And also another controversy is job security. It's going to take all our jobs.
While some have their worries about what AI means for their careers, some think certain jobs just can't be replaced.
I think there will always need to be, especially in public relations, a human eye that looks at things and gives them final approval.
Aside from the job market, Lamb School professor Glenn Sparks commented that initially, AI such as ChatGPT may appear to pose a dire threat to business as usual. But I'm confident that creative educators will be able to survive and innovate effective ways that adapt to the latest new technologies and overcome the initial threats. As for plagiarism, Jeff Stefanchik, Associate Dean of Students, wrote that the use of resources like ChatGPT could be violations of academic integrity expectations that course instructors establish, and could also be violations of the Purdue University regulations governing student conduct. If you haven't used ChatGPT before, you simply have to create an account and ask the software a question. Here, I've asked it to write me a recipe for chocolate chip cookies. While there is more to come of AI in the future, ChatGPT has captivated many on what it means for the limits of artificial intelligence and technology.
So I think ChatGPT is a revolutionary artificial intelligence, right? It changes the game in many regards with the bounds of technology.
Reporting for Fast Track News, I'm Andrea Yu.
A Princeton University student, Edward Tion, created a software called GPT-0 that detects whether writing is produced by AI. According to the Daily Princetonian, Tion actually believes in new technologies like AI, but also says it's important that they aren't misused. The warm weather has been pretty comfortable the last few days, but will these nice days last?
Meteorologist Audrey Shirley is here with the first look at the forecast.
Yes, we're going to be looking at a high of about 39 degrees today as we move throughout the day. It's going to be partly cloudy today, and then we are also going to have some higher wind speeds. However, those wind speeds will start to slow down a bit as we go into our hourly forecast. We can see we're going to be hitting 8 miles an hour, then up to 9 miles an hour, and then 7 miles an hour. It'll be partly cloudy and then a lot cloudier later this evening.
The Purdue campus will soon be home to a $21 million art donation. According to a news release, the university announced last week that it has recently accepted a collection of sculptures by French Impressionist Edgar Degas. The sculptures, including the artist's most iconic work, Little Dancer, were donated by engineering alum Avram Gray, who is a businessman in Chicago. The university says this is the biggest present that Purdue's College of Liberal Arts has ever received.
A member of Purdue student government hopes to help frustrated students with their parking complaints.
Reporter Sunny Lee attended a PSG meeting this week where a bill to create a committee to advocate on their behalf was voted on.
Hello Boilermakers, I'm here at the Vandeleur Hall of Agriculture. Purdue student government has a committee here today on Purdue Parking Advocacy Bill. Purdue student senators are gathering here to prepare for Wednesday's meeting. Currently, Purdue University has a significant shortage of parking spaces. Purdue students also feel uncomfortable about this.
I think it's very hard to find a parking spot, especially if you live in the circle. between like Village West and here. There's a bunch of like apartments that are like too far to walk, but it's always hard to find parking spots and you have to pay for parking.
Because of this status, Robert Kim, the Chief Justice of PSG, has created the Bill of the Parking Lot.
So I think a big complaint that we get from a lot of the students, especially seeing the traffic tickets appeals on a day-to-day basis, one of the biggest issues we see from students is regarding parking, and a lot of students have issues with that. So we're just trying to make sure that those students have their voices heard and then they have some way to talk to the administration about those issues.
Robert also shared his thoughts about the current parking status.
Yeah, I think right now, like I said, there's a lot of issues that students have with parking, so it's definitely not a perfect situation. But this year, parking does have some new leadership that's come in place, and they've been very helpful and easy to work with. So that's kind of what inspired us to kind of bring this bill forward and hopefully make some change on behalf of students.
Robert included some solutions to solve the parking lot problem.
I can't promise any specific policy changes that'll come out of this committee. But some things that we are working with parking services, or at least planning to work with, are some issues that students have with maybe parking backwards. They're not really happy with some of the things that might not make sense. Maybe opening more places for students to be able to park and giving more options for that. But those are kind of all areas that we're exploring for this parking committee.
The meeting was held on Wednesday, February 22nd. I hope the committee's decision on Purdue Parking Advocacy Bill will be of great help to Purdue students on campus. This is Sunny Lee from the Fast Track News.
Thank you, Sunny. Fast Track will continue to follow where this bill goes next.
Did you know Purdue has a student-run radio station?
WCCR broadcasts from the basement of Cary Quadrangle Residence Hall. Student DJs create their shows and playlists for campus to enjoy. Fast Track contributor Katie Doninger introduces us to one of the DJs and gives us a behind-the-scenes look at their show.
Hello, welcome to Tipton Tonight.
I'm on the scene of a college radio show making big waves on Purdue's campus. Tipton Tonight is hosted by Xander Tipton, a cybersecurity sophomore.
Tonight's theme is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. The first song we have up is Slow Jam 1. Enjoy. I'm the host of Tipton Tonight, which is through WCCR, which is a student radio program hosted through the basement of Cary Quad. I have an hour and I play music for an hour, and sometimes I do different genres. Sometimes I pick a specific artist and just play that artist. So last week I did the Beatles. This week I am doing King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. And then some previous themes have been folk, country, doom metal. I've also done a Taylor Swift week, and I've done one where people suggest songs to play, and I've had my little brother make a playlist, and I've played that. So just kind of everything.
It's also great because they can share the experience with their friends.
I'm Leah Montgomery. I'm a friend of Xander's, so I'm just an observer. I started going this semester, and the reason I started going was because Katie and Xander invited me to come hang out, and I thought it sounded cool, so I went.
The show allows for Tipton to express their creativity and love for all things music.
The show is Tipton Tonight. It's every Wednesday at 10 p.m. on WCCR. Follow the Instagram, there's a link to it. The Instagram handle is Tipton_tonight.
That's all for now. Thank you, and back to you in the studio.
Again, that was Katie Doninger reporting. WCCR has been around since 1952, and it's one of the oldest and original student radio stations in the Big Ten.
WCCR now streams live online. You can listen through TuneIn Radio or by clicking the QR code over our shoulder. Coming right up, students can get their aviation lessons even if they are not part of the aviation program. Fast Track's own reporter Lee Chaoshen is close to obtaining his own lessons, and he had the chance to speak to the program's director.
Also, starting February 27th, there will be one more small step to log into your Purdue email account, and it will affect Apple Watch users too. What you need to know, next.
Being involved in the 3-year program at Purdue made it easier to say to myself I could get done in 3 years. The 3-year program helped save me a ton of money. Not completing my 4th year, I would save around $30,000. It will give you an advantage, if anything. Doing the 3-year program at Purdue has shown me that I have motivation to do whatever it takes to get my degree.
One of Fast Track's reporters has been busy.
Yes, he's almost done with his pilot training at Purdue Aviation. And no, he is not major in professional flight. But Li Chao Shen is on track to get his pilot's license, and you can too. Here's a look at the program.
Becoming a pilot is one of the most fulfilling accomplishments that everyone wants to do, but not many people put it into action. Well, here comes to the good news. You're not in the Pro Flight program, but you're still thinking about getting a pilot license. Come to Purdue Aviation at Purdue University Airport. They will set you up. Jeff Pittard, current president of Purdue Aviation, got a chance to sit down with me and introduce their pilot program.
Most of our students are Purdue University students that aren't in the aviation flight program. They may be in aviation management or biology or engineering or even liberal arts. One thing that we've always strived to do is to keep the price fair. We also do everything ourselves as far as fuel, maintenance, so that keeps our costs down.
Right now, there are 31 instructors at Purdue Aviation, and most of them are Purdue University students. When I mentioned the safety of flying with them, Jeff gave a really confident answer.
So how do you answer that question? We usually ask them to go at least flying with them once and see what they think, and normally our instructors are very sharp, and it's pretty obvious at the time that they know what they're doing and they're very confident in what they're doing, and that's what it takes.
After the interview, the Fast Track crew went on a photo flight with the instructor Sean Kane. He performed brief but effective communication with the tower and a smooth takeoff and landing. It is hard to believe that he's only teaching flying here for 3 months. Under his assistance, our camera operator Fatima Escovel even flew the plane first time in her life.
As everybody should know, is it is very easy to start the program, and it's very easy to become a pilot. It's much more simple than people think it is.
If you are interested in being a pilot, Purdue Aviation now offers an hour flight with a current pilot and a consultation with their student service specialist, Rachel Word. Visit PurdueAviationLLC.com or call 765-743-9692 to start your pilot dream. Reporting from Fast Track News, this is your in-training pilot, Li Chao Shen.
Students are able to start their pilot training with starting rates at $11,000 plus tax. Believe it or not, that is cheaper than a lot of other pilot training institutes.
And just like Li Chao, you don't have to be in the aviation program to enroll.
Purdue basketball tickets are a hot commodity, and one that criminals are taking advantage of. Purdue police say they are investigating reports of ticket scams that cost hundreds of dollars for their students. Chief Leslie Weedy says the process starts when a scammer uses a student ID and a sob story about how they can't go to the game.
They're making it sound like this is a Purdue student trying to sell tickets, right? Like they can't go to the game, I got to sell my tickets, and then there's a transaction, and then the person is not getting the tickets because there are no tickets.
Chief Weedy says stay away from buying tickets from people you don't know, and also only purchase from legitimate sources like StubHub or the Purdue Athletic Office.
Microsoft is adding an extra security step for users of its Authenticator app. This will impact anyone who uses the app to connect to their university email or Office 365 account. Starting Monday, you will be required to type a number displayed on the screen into the app to complete the authentication process. It's designed to prevent accidental approvals and cyber attacks. If you currently receive a text message or a phone call to verify your identity, don't worry, nothing changes. But if you use your Apple Watch to log in, beware. You won't be able to use it after this weekend.
Temperatures are increasing, but will this warmer weather bring more rain? Also, how much snow is the northern U.S. going to get this week? Stay tuned to find out after this break. On Friday, we are going to be looking at some partly cloudy skies in addition to Saturday as well. However, once we hit Sunday, we are going to start seeing some rain move our way. And look at that, we're going to have a high of 55 degrees, so it will be pretty warm. However, we'll still have that rain with us. As we look into our 7-day, we're going to start out with some partly cloudy skies. On Sunday, it's going to be pretty rainy, and Monday we're going to have the most rain on Monday as well. As we move into Tuesday and Wednesday, it'll be a bit cloudier. And then Thursday, we're going to have additional rain with those temperatures increasing, as we can see there. Taking a look at our national forecast, we actually can see a winter storm moving towards the north of the United States here. However, luckily it will not hit Indiana. However, we might have a few traces here and there later on in the next week. As we look here, we can see that we have a low pressure system that's moving towards our area, and it's really going to bring in that rain, especially on Monday, as we saw previously. And as we can see here, once again, we are going to have some partly cloudy skies, and then we'll see that rain start to move in throughout the week with those higher temperatures.
Purdue only needs one more win to claim the Big Ten championship. Now everyone's eyes are on tomorrow's game against IU. I'm Ivan Porras. Don't go away. Sports is next.
Here we go again. Another season under the lights of Mackey Arena. And at first glance, things may seem familiar. But make no mistake, a lot has changed. Our fans, louder. Our players, better. A lot better. This is the season where things change. The season where we're not defined by the moments of yesterday. This is the season where we chase the promised land. The season where records are broken. The season where history is made. Boilermaker basketball has returned. Every rebound, every three, every outrageous dunk. It's all right here on Fast Track.
Last Sunday, the Purdue women's basketball team took a trip to Bloomington to face number 2, Indiana. Both matches between Purdue and IU were sellouts for the first time in series history. Fast Track reporter Ella Chu and I traveled to Bloomington to give you a glimpse of the game day atmosphere.
Purdue played in their second matchup this month against the number 2 ranked Indiana Hoosiers here at Assembly Hall. The Boilermakers started out strong but eventually fell short to the Hoosiers in the second half, who scored 29 points, shooting at 69%. For the Boilermakers, Laisha Petrie scored 23 points, Abby Ellis added in 12, and Janae Terry had 11. The game shared many similarities to their first matchup at the beginning of February, which was played in Mackey Arena. Purdue competed toe-to-toe with IU in the first half before the second half, where this talented lineup turned up the heat and pulled away from the Boilermakers. On Monday, Geralds discussed the game with Tim Newton on the Katie Geralds Show, stating that both times their game plans were on point at the beginning, but that Purdue ran out of gas by the second half. She also said that IU is both a physical and strong team, being too skilled, too smart, and well coached. IU is now 26-1 as they look ahead towards the Big Ten tournament. The women's team are back in action in Mackey Arena on February 22nd against Penn State. Reporting for Fast Track News, I'm Ella Chu.
After the game on Sunday, IU women's basketball still holds an undefeated home record. Along with her 23 points, Laisha Petrie etched her name in Purdue history, joining the 2,000-point club for the Boilermakers. Women's basketball flipped the script on Wednesday against Penn State in Mackey Arena. The pink-out crowd laid witness to a classic performance from the Boilermakers on senior night that helped them cruise to a dominant 86-62 win over the Nittany Lions. Laisha Petrie had another 23-point performance, and Caitlin Harper tacked on 16 with a team-high 8 rebounds. The pink jerseys worn by Purdue were part of the Fight Like a Boilermaker auction, where proceeds went to the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research. Wednesday night was especially memorable for seniors Cassidy Harden, Ricky Woltman, and Laisha Petrie in their final home game of their Purdue careers. The three were honored after the game in a ceremony full of tears, banter, and laughter. Harden, Woltman, and Petrie will be sorely missed next season. Women's basketball will play their final regular season game of the season as the Boilermakers face off against the Golden Gophers in Minnesota on Sunday. Men's basketball hosted Ohio State last Sunday in Mackey. After a 2-game losing streak, Purdue finally got back on the right track with an 82-55 win. Fast Track reporter Brendan Gorham has the story.
The recipe to beat the Purdue Boilermakers has been discovered the past few games: relentless physicality. But no matter the game plan and no matter the crowd raining boos here in Mackey Arena, the Purdue Boilermakers were determined to fight through adversity, beating the Ohio State Buckeyes 82-55. Fans were quite aware of the recent reffing controversy surrounding the Boilers failing to get calls coming into the game. They made sure to voice their emotions early as the Buckeyes rushed out to an 8-2 lead. Nearing the end of the half, fans booed again as more physical fouls weren't called. But at the same time, they cheered as Ohio State put Purdue in the bonus with just over 10 to go in the first half.
I feel like for the most part, they've been catching a lot of it. They've missed a few calls, but in the long run, I feel like they've been pretty fair to us.
Overall, the fans we interviewed did believe that the referees were doing a good job staying unbiased. Coming out of half, the Boilermakers pulled away big time. Huge contributions from Trey Kaufman-Wren and David Jenkins off the bench, combined with Zach Edey's 26 points, blew open the doors for the incoming beatdown.
Yeah, I think those first 5 minutes are something that we've always thought are very important in kind of coming out and setting the tone. You know, leads can evaporate in the first 5 minutes, or they can grow. So we always really focus on trying to take those first 5 minutes and really control them.
The Boilers built off of that early second half momentum and grew to at one point leading by 30. And with about 2 minutes to go, head coach Matt Painter called upon his reserves to close out the game. From Mackey Arena, this is Brendan Gorham reporting for Fast Track News.
I know we've mentioned this guy in almost every week's production, but it would never be a pity to bring up his name again. Our junior center Zach Edey hit 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks. So far, the NBA prospect holds his seasonal average at 22.1 points and 12.7 rebounds, which guarantees Edey a double-double in every game this season. There are all now just 3 games left for Purdue in the regular season. If Northwestern wins all their remaining games, Purdue would need to win 2 more games to secure the Big Ten championship title. Purdue look to take down IU tomorrow in the sold-out Mackey Arena. Purdue women's soccer showed their offensive power against Illinois State for the spring exhibition season opening. The Boilers scored 4 in the first half and another 3 in the second half. During the game, former Purdue soccer alumni Lauren Sesselman announced her induction into the Leroy Keys Purdue Athletics Hall of Fame. Head coach Drew Roth, along with the team, presented Sesselman with a framed jersey with her number. Purdue will host Ball State on March 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Folk Field, and another 3 games in April. All games will be free admission. Purdue baseball played their final series game against Holy Cross. Jake Jarvis led the way for the Boilermakers with 6 RBIs and 10 total bases as Purdue launched 5 home runs for the first time since 2010, slugging their way to a season-opening win with a 12-2 victory on Sunday. After 3 straight wins, softball took on the NC State Wolfpack for the ACC Big Ten Challenge in Raleigh. Despite being down 4-1 heading into the bottom of the 7th, Purdue notched back-to-back solo home runs, but was unable to find the tying run to push the game into extras. The Boilermakers, now 5-3, will be back in action next week in Orlando for the UCF Knights Classic against Columbia. That's a wrap for sports, and as always, beat IU, Boiler up, and stay tuned. Fast Track will be right back after this quick timeout.
CCSE provides numerous opportunities for students of all majors. This includes the student community, pizza and politics, the Boilers Go to DC Maymester, internships, and annual events like the Talk with Brian Lamb and the Research Conference.
The goal for the CCSE is to help students get more educated on politics, government, media in a nonpartisan fashion, and to learn how to use the C-SPAN Video Library for resources, for research of their own, to learn more about politics and obviously the government and journalism.
Find out what the Center for C-SPAN can do for you.
Now it's time for our question of the week.
With it being the height of midterm season, which classes are you struggling with? Here's what your fellow Boilermakers had to say.
I'm struggling with my physics class just because I've never taken it before and it's kind of hard.
EC 302, probabilistic methods. I'm just struggling because it's very boring.
Econometrics. I don't know, most of the content really, it's kind of, linear regression is really boring.
I would say the most hardest midterm for me is entrepreneurship class, my intro to entrepreneurship class. We don't really go over much of what's on the exams or quizzes in class, so it's kind of up to you to study on your own, like the chapters. So it's hard for me to sit down and really read chapters by myself,
That's our question of the week. Now, let's take a final look at our weather. Audrey?
Taking another look at the 7-day, we are going to be seeing these temperatures increase. However, with those temperatures increasing, we are going to get a lot of rain, especially on Monday and Thursday after we see those clouds start to roll in throughout the week.
That's all for this week's edition of Fast Track. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rachel Tai.
And I'm John Waterworth. Tune in next week for more campus news, weather, and sports. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.
I work for Student Life because I'm able to develop leadership skills that will carry over after college.
I work in Student Life because I'm developing time management skills and friendships that will last a lifetime.
Are you looking for a new hobby? Or do you want to have a fun evening with your friends?
Then come climb to new heights at the Co-Rec climbing wall.
Want to try something new? How about learning an Irish jig? Come leap into the semester with the Irish Dance Club. No experience is necessary, so come to a meeting at the Stewart Center from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays. See you there.